there is profound truth when you look at the Bible and look a little deeper for the spiritual meaning. And I want to give you an example today of the parable of the wedding feast. Now, a parable is a story with deep spiritual meaning. Jesus Christ's words from Matthew 22, 1 through 14. Once more, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding banquet for his son. He sent all of his slaves to call those who had been invited to the wedding banquet, but they would not come." So let's stop right there. He had a lot of people invited to the wedding banquet, but they wouldn't come. Now I go on. Again he sent his slaves, saying, "Tell those who have been invited, look, everything is ready. I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered. Everything is ready. Come now to the wedding banquet." But they made light of it. They just said, and they went their own way. Each to his own farm and to his business, and the other seized his slaves, mistreated them, and killed them. Well, when the king heard about this, he was enraged. He sent his troops, destroyed all the murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his slaves, "The wedding is ready." But those invited, they were not worthy. Now that's an important thing, not worthy. Go therefore into the main streets. That's Main Street, America, imagine. And invite everyone you see to the wedding banquet. Well, those slaves, they went out into the streets and they gathered all whom they found, both good and bad. Now that's another important thing in this story. So the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed that there was a man, one man, not wearing a wedding robe. And he said to him, "Friend, how did you get in here without a wedding robe?" And he was speechless. He didn't have anything to say. Now I continue. And then the king said to the attendants, "Bind him hand and foot and throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen." Now what does this mean for you today? How can you use this in your life today if you're dealing with difficulties? Well, here's how. There is a book written by author Elizabeth Sand Turner, which explains the parable of Jesus. She says in her book, Your Hope of Glory, the parable of the wedding feast and the wedding garment relates that God has prepared a feast for you. Now hear that. There is a feast that has been prepared for you, and it is ready right now. And God has invited you to it. Well, those in lower human consciousness, filled with lower human ideas, almost like animal lower human ideas, they make light of the invitation. They only pursue their worldly interests, and they definitely reject God's summons. They kill God's messengers. How many times have you gotten a divine idea and said, "That won't work, not for me"? I know I have. I've gotten grandiose ideas that could have only been from God, and I I said, oh no, not me. And I've killed the ideas. Literally, those people reside at the bottom of consciousness. This is the spiritual meaning of the fall of man. Our highest thoughts that come to us are often allowed to sink into our lowest realms. In other words, we have divine urgings inside of our minds, but we kill off those thoughts. We say, no, not now, not now. And then we go our own way. Well, the price we pay is death. Not to the physical body, but death to the good that we would have had. Death to the good that has already been prepared for us right now. The fields are white to the harvest. Jesus says it over and over again in different ways. And those who accept God's invitation, they must prepare themselves properly and wear a wedding garment. Now, what does that mean? This is a garment of consciousness. You must prepare yourself in awareness and acceptance. This is what it means to put on the garment of God. It means to know that God is one with you and to accept the good that God has for you. Our preparation for God's good, it consists of spiritual thinking and living. It is the robe of righteousness, and it is the only fit wedding garment. Without this, you won't be permitted to eat at God's table. Does God choose? No. It said earlier the good and the bad were invited. God cares more about your present moment and your future than God does about your past. God invites all right now to this banquet. God wants all to accept it. But in order to accept it, you must synchronize the human mind with God. Otherwise, you can't even comprehend or see the good that God has already prepared for you. The banquet's ready, my friend. Why don't we go right now? God bless you.